SoulMask is one of the biggest and deepest open world survival games of 2024. It features a base management system that reminds me of Palworld, where you capture new followers, assign them to do tasks around your base, like chopping down wood, tending to crops, or crafting large quantities of items for you. The size and depth of SoulMask means it gets more fun the more you uncover its systems and discover its hidden areas around the map. Games that are this big can feel a little overwhelming at first, so here's a beginner's guide to get you started. SoulMask launches into early access on Steam on May 31st, so shout out to the developers who let us all into the demo to try out the game and prepare this guide for you. I tossed the Steam link for the game in the video description below in case you want to check it out for yourself. Now let's dive into how this game works. Alright, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start a brand new game, show you how to get through the early game, and then I'm going to switch over to another game where I have dozens of hours and I'm much deeper into the game, and from there I'll explain the more advanced mechanics of the game. So let's dive in. First thing we're going to do is start a new game. I'm going to say solo with friends. You can choose between normal, easy, and hard. I'm going to go with easy here to speed things up a bit for this beginner's guide. You'll be able to create a character. On the right side over here, you can choose your gender. We'll go ahead and pick female. We'll go ahead and leave her just like this. You can show the gear, you can not show the gear. The next thing you'll get to do is choose the mask that you're wearing. And not only is it a cosmetic choice, but it's also an active skill choice. Each mask has skills and passives that you'll be able to unlock as you level it up. After you choose your mask, the game is going to spawn you into the world. And you'll notice instantly this game has a very, very large map, and it does take quite a while to run from one end to the other. There's some incredibly important information that we're looking at right off the beginning that's going to be important to understand as soon as you're dropped into this world. You've got these points of interest and there's different icons. These ones here, these question marks, are oftentimes going to be ruins, and you're going to go there and you're going to pick up materials and a currency that you're going to use to upgrade your mask. You've got this menu right here, which requires that currency to upgrade the mask. So that's one of the things you'll pick up at the question marks. It's going to be ruins, it's going to have materials, it's going to have the currency to upgrade your mask, and then you have these gold ones here, and these are going to have upgrade materials for your relic that is going to unlock a node. So these are pretty unique when they're yellow. That means it's a significant mask upgrade. You're unlocking a new function inside of it. So instead of being able to unlock one of these passives, you go there and you'll be able to unlock something like control up along this top row here. Okay, so that's what the yellow markers mean. So you definitely want to go to those when you're able to. The last symbol I want to touch on really quick before we dive deeper is Western Rainforest Scout symbol. So the Scout symbol is one that is going to remove the fog of war when you go there. We're going to go to that NPC, we're going to interact with it, and we're going to steal its knowledge. We're going to tap into that NPC's brain, the tribesman, and steal its knowledge of this area. It's going to remove the fog of war and add more waypoints to the map. So that's kind of how you explore in this game. You head to these eyes, you steal the knowledge from those characters, and it unlocks the surrounding area so you can further explore it. All right, let's dive in. First thing we're going to do, in the top left, it's kind of telling you what you might want to start out by doing. It's a little bit of a guide there. It says grab some thatch fiber. It's set to use basic items. We're just going to run around, press E to pick up these items, and you'll notice instantly that we are leveling up. So everything you do in this game is leveling something up. If you're harvesting, you're leveling your harvesting. If you are chopping down trees, you're leveling up your wood cutting ability, and so on. If you're smelting in your smelter, you're leveling up your smelting. There are a ton of things that you can level in this game. In fact, if we go to our character screen and we look at our proficiencies, you can see here what level everything is. And you can see that my harvesting is level 12. It's leveling quite fast because we are on easy mode. So that's accelerating the process of everything for this video here. So first things first, let's talk about the UI in the game. Let's talk about everything that you're seeing because there's a lot of important information. Over here on the bottom left, you've got the hotkeys for the various important menus that you're going to need to be interacting with all the time while you're playing this game. T is to open up your mask. That's the one we showed you briefly here, where you can click and hold down on these to unlock them once you've collected that currency, those green crystals. You can see there at the bottom, it says I have 0 out of 3 green crystals, so I can't learn this right now. And this one I have 0 out of 2. This one I have 0 out of 1. So that's going to be T. That's going to unlock that. Then you've got Tab to open up your tribesman menu. This is going to show you your inventory. This is going to show you your character screen where you can see all of your individual stats. You can also see your proficiencies, how good you are at any given task. You can see your masteries. So if you use something long enough, like a spear or a sword or a shield. As you use a spear, for example, you're going to work your way down this and you'll unlock skills that you can use. So if I was to unlock this one right here, I'd be able to click on it, equip it, and then press F to use that ability once I had a spear out. So we'll do that when I switch over to the other character that's got quite a bit more going for him. Now let's talk about the rest of the UI here. You've got your weapons and your consumables and anything that you have on your hotbar right here. Below that, you've got your health on the left and your stamina on the right. And then in the middle, you've got some icons that are incredibly important to be aware of. This is your mask energy. So when it's empty, you can't use your mask abilities anymore. This is your rest state. Basically, when this is full, you're good. When it's empty, you need to sleep in a bed. This is your weight. The more filled in the green is, the closer to being full you are. So as I pick up more stuff, my character will eventually get slower and slower until she can't move at all. You don't start reaching those problems until it gets just about all the way full. So you don't have to worry about it until this thing's all the way full. Next, we have our hunger and our hydration. And as that empties, you're more hungry. And as that empties, you're more thirsty. And you just need to make sure that you deal with that before your character runs out entirely. In the bottom right, it says Q for life perception. So that's going to be one of the first abilities you have. It's going to be especially useful when you are running through dense jungle like this and you're not sure if there's something very dangerous like a jaguar in there, right? Those things can be super deadly. As you play through the game, you'll upgrade the range of this item. So right now it couldn't see this guy, but when we move closer, now it sees those. So one of the things you're going to want to do is upgrade your mask so that its range is bigger and it can see the scary, dangerous animals and tribesmen long before you get to them. The first thing that you need to do in this game is craft, but you cannot craft until you learn how to craft. So doing things and killing things in this game is going to give you experience. Crafting, killing, any of these things are all going to give you experience that you're going to be able to use in your tree. That's this right here, your technology tree, which we can open up at any time with Y. And the reason we can't craft anything here yet is because we haven't learned how to craft anything here. It says we've got 15 points to spend in here. Well, the first thing we're going to want to do is learn how to create a campfire. So we're going to hold down on this square over here. So now that we've held down on that, we've unlocked the ability to make a campfire, which is great. Campfires are really important. These are respawn points as long as they're burning. And so I highly recommend you throw one down anytime you're a long way from base because it is a massive map. So as you start exploring and you find yourself all the way over here and your base is like right here, right? You need to set a campfire down because it's very easy to accidentally run into an enemy that is quite a bit stronger than you. And you know, the fight just doesn't go your way. They sneak up on you, they take you down, and you're dead. And if you don't want to have to run all the way across the map to get your body and your belongings, leave a trail of fireplaces as you get far from your base. They are real easy to craft. In fact, here, we'll make one right now. So we just open up the menu. It takes 5 fiber, 5 branches, and 5 stone. Very easy. So what you'll do is you'll come here, you'll make one like that after you unlocked it in the other menu, right? We came in here and we unlocked the ability to make a campfire. And we will just go ahead and slot that campfire on one of our shortcut items here. So there it is. And boom. Now we have a campfire. This is a respawn point as long as it's burning. So the next thing you're going to want to do when you make a campfire is toss some wood into it, right? You can see here, this campfire is going to burn out in 16 minutes. And I put some wood in here and now it says it's going to last for 3 hours and 16 minutes. So it's much more likely that it'll still be a viable respawn point when I need it that way. Now that we've got a campfire, the next thing we're definitely going to want is a primitive tool, right? You want to be able to gather efficiently in these games because gathering is a massive part of open world survival games. So we learned how to create stone tools. And then the next blueprint down here, this is water bottles, bug nets, and luminous waste lamps. This is what you use for lighting the way when it's dark, that kind of thing. Nets are what you use to catch the bugs to make the luminous lamps, and then water bottles, that's what you use to satiate your thirst. Of course, no survival game is complete without a weapon or a set of weapons, and this game has a ton of weapons for you to choose from. I'm going to go ahead and go with the spear here first. I'm going to unlock that, and now I'm going to gather a few more branches because I just put all my branches in the fire. We're going to run around real quick. Now there are a couple branches so that we can make some tools. All right, we've got branches, which means we can make our first set of tools, which is very exciting. So we're going to make a pickaxe for mining rocks or minerals. Then we're going to make a stone axe for that lumber. We're gonna make a scythe for gathering, shrubbery, insects, cotton, all kinds of great stuff like that. And then the butcher's knife for butchering animals that we kill and, being able to extract the useful bits of them after we kill them. And then we want a spear, which says we want 5 logs. So we're gonna put that axe to use. We got the axe out. I'm chop down a tree real quick. Now, one thing that I'm gonna tell you right now is that it's very important that you upgrade your resource gathering tool whenever possible. So right now I can make a stone axe, and later on I'll be able to make a bone axe, and later on after that I'll be able to make a bronze axe. And the tier of axe or the tier of pickaxe that you're using is huge in determining the product that you are receiving when you use it. So the higher the quality is not just going to improve the efficiency, right? It's not going to just make you chop the tree down faster. It's also going to give you better quality yield. And this is especially true with the pickaxe. When you have a better pickaxe, you'll be able to run up to a deposit and get the minerals faster. But not only that, you'll also get the higher quality materials. So for instance, over here, there's a tin ore mine, and you go to that tin ore mine and you start hitting the tin ore with a lowly stone pickaxe. You're mostly just going to get stone. You're not going to get a lot of tin. But if you use a bronze pickaxe, you're going to get loads and loads of tin really fast. So always upgrade your tools to the newest, best version that they can be whenever possible. It's going to make the game a much more efficient for you. This would have saved me loads of time if I knew this my first playthrough. And you'll notice that one of my items crafted green. So there's tiers of items in this game, all the way from white to green to blue to purple, gold, and even red, right? You've got this long chain of quality that you can craft in. And every time you craft, it randomly lands into one of those quality categories. And the better you are at crafting, the more likely it is that you will craft a high quality version of that. So my character is very low level, so most of my items came out white, which is the most basic version of them. But I did get lucky on one. I got a green scythe here. So that happens every time you craft. So you could craft the same item over and over to make sure that you get a good version of it. So we're going to craft the spear now because we got some wood. There we go. We got a nice green wooden spear. Sweet. Okay. I'm going to move that up here like so. And we're going to go and have our first encounter with the enemy. Oh, here's some wildlife, which we could absolutely kill here. So we'll do that. Go to battle with this guy. Oh, he gave us a little charge. We'll dodge his attack. Do a little lunge there, a little thrust. Okay, so now we can use our butcher's knife to extract these materials. And you always need to make sure you're using the right tool for the job. So if you're not using your butcher's knife to try to get those materials at the end, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get anything for it. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the map and put a waypoint on this. There we go. So that I can see it without opening the map anymore. Very handy, by the way. And to do that, you just hover over an area and press V, and it's going to place the shortcut there. So you know where to go. I know there is a question mark here, which likely means it's a set of ruins. And what the ruins usually are, it's just some ruins, some really basic ruins, nothing too extravagant, guarded by some enemies, whether they're beasts or tribesmen. You'll find out when you get there. And then there's a chest. There's always one chest tucked into here somewhere. I can't tell you how many times I killed. Okay, so this one's guarded by some beasts, right? It's running a nice low level area. Ooh. Get both of these guys. Nice. All right. I need to make one of those luminous lamps because it's kind of dark, isn't it? Grab these sticks while they're here because we're definitely going to need those. Early on, you can't have too much thatch and you can't have too many sticks because that's what you're going to use to make your first base, as well as, your basic tools and all kinds of stuff. So here's the chest that I said would be here. So we're going to open this up and here it is. The first set of crafting materials that we've got, right? Some tooth and some feather, but also these two right here. These are incredibly important. So you have sunstones. You're always going to find some sunstones and some crystals when you come to these sites. And the sunstones are what you're going to use to charge your mask. So you can use the abilities on your mask, and the crystals are what you're going to use to upgrade the mask. So now that we've taken those out of there, what we can do is we can come into our mask menu and I can unlock things that I can afford. So I have 9 green crystals presently. So I'm going to go ahead and get this core function, a universal function of the mask, repair it to enable emergency energy storage for energy storage cap plus 200. So this is going to increase the capacity of the mask energy. Right now it only has 100 energy, and the energy is what I use anytime I want to use one of the mask's abilities. awareness. So we're going to do that, which is also going to give us the ability to go further down this chain here. Like this one here, it says when attacking with gauntlets, our proficiency growth rate is 25%, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that one. And then as soon as I get a chance, when I get to awareness strength 15, it says I will be able to grab the spear one since I'm using a spear. Right now, my awareness strength is 8. So in order to get your awareness strength, in order to get your mask levels and your character levels, basically you're just going to craft and kill and build and all kinds of things like that. And you're always going to be getting a little bit of XP, and you'll see it pop up in the bottom left of the game. Even right now, you're passively, but very slowly getting a little bit. You'll see +4, +5, +5 in the bottom left there when I'm running around. So what I can do is I can chop down this tree, and you'll see I'm racking up a bunch of XP for all 3 things there. My character, my mask, all of it's leveling up when I chop down a tree. Likewise, you'll see the same thing when you kill something. So you'll level up quite fast by doing just about anything in this game. Now we've explored the very first ruin. Next thing we want to do is maybe head over to one of these yellow ones right here. And we've got a weapon. There's going to be some tribesmen here. As it tells you, the guardian is an outcast, which means this one says beast, so it's guarded by animals. This one is an outcast, which basically the little mini groups are the outcasts. They're the tribesmen that are hanging out here in the wilderness. And then there's bigger like towns or tribes where they actually have like a town set up and they have an actual tribe name as opposed to just the outcasts living out here by themselves in groups of 3, 4, 5, something like that. So now we're going to run over to this real quick. And as always, if you see something that you've never killed before, maybe try to kill it. If you see a material you've never gathered before, maybe try to gather it. It is an open world survival game, which means if you don't need the materials now, you'll need them later. So here's a tribesman. And let's go ahead. Whenever you kill an enemy, they drop the bag like this. We can go ahead and loot it. There's bandages in there. We can just go ahead and use one from their inventory. We know we're going to need it. Just by pressing E while hovering over it, will automatically consume 1 bandage, which is nice because then you don't have to go through the animation. That's probably a bug they'll fix, but you can basically just heal without having to go through this animation right here. As long as it's in their inventory when you use it, which is nice in battle. You want a quick heal. There's a chest. Oh, nice. We got a stone blade. Cool. And some premium bandages, which is great. We'll use those. We'll put those on the hotbar in case we need them in battle. Go ahead and put the weapon here. We'll keep the pickaxe. There we go. So we have a slightly better weapon now. This one does 23 damage. This one does 21, but I really like my spear. We're just going to keep on sticking with it. Okay. When you try to open a chest, if you haven't killed all the enemies nearby that are part of this location, it won't let you. It'll tell you danger detected nearby. So you'll have to make sure you clear it out entirely. So you'll find the remaining enemies, who I believe are up here. Take his premium bandages. Okay, now we can loot all the chests in this area, and looks like there's quite a few. So we'll take all this goodness right here. Look at this, more energy for our mask, more upgrade materials for our mask, so we'll be able to do quite a bit of upgrading. Then this is the reason this is gold. You've got this special location, press and hold to view more inventory options. It says control. This is going to give us the ability to control enemies. It says we need 5 awareness. We have that, and we need these materials, which we've been gathering from the ruins, so we've got those as well. So we unlock this in our mask. There we go. We've got it. Our mask is upgraded. Boom. So now when we go to our masks menu, you can see this has been unlocked control. The next one along this chain that we will be hoping to grab and find is going to be data update 1, which is going to be up here. And it says you need an awareness of 20, right? And that's basically going to be how the game progresses. You're going to look for these big temples in each area. So this area here, this environment, this tropical environment has this temple here. Then over here, you'll have another environment. And over here, another environment. Let's say this is snowy and this is desert, right? And they each have their own temple with a boss fight that you will fight to unlock another piece of your mask. This top row here and the passives that come with it are really nice. Okay, so we visited a ruin. We visited the first yellow or gold ruin, unlocked part of our mask. The next thing we're going to want to do is probably set up a hub, a base of operations, so that we have a place where we can start crafting better weapons, better gear, some protection from the environment, right? And a place to start gathering tribesmen out here. So when we run into a tribesman, we can recruit them and have them work at our base. This game reminds me a lot of if you've played Pal World. So Pal World, you could have all your pals basically be an assembly line for you, building things for you, completing all these tasks that you don't want to complete. You want to go out, you want to explore, and you don't want to deal with the more mundane tasks of a open world survival game, like, crafting 100 of something. In this game, instead of your pals, you have your tribesmen do it. You recruit them to your abode. Your tribesmen have a lot of functions. So let's go over them because they're very, very complex. If we hold E over the tribesmen, we can do a lot of things. I can press control, which lets me take control of them. Now I am playing as the tribesman and I can do something as a tribesman. If I want to do something super risky, something, you know, different, who knows what, you can control the tribesmen. Maybe they have better stats than you for crafting, can definitely happen. And so maybe you want to do some crafting on them, right? So let's go back to my main character. So we can control them like that with the mask on them and control them. We can deploy them. And this basically brings up the menu on the left side there. And I can say, I want them to attack a target with F1. I can say, follow me. I press that, and now they're going to follow me wherever I go, help me with whatever I'm doing, take them out on an adventure with me, have them help me fight. I can have them carry stuff for me so that I can get more stuff when I go out, because one thing I will say is this map is really big. So when you head out here to say collect ore, you want to make sure you take either your mount or a tribesman with you so that you can collect enough of it to make it worth the long run over there and the long run back. It's quite a journey. So we can do follow, we can say stay, we can say assist, you know, whatever we want them to do, we can do it. And we can save them so that if we lose them for any reason, you know, we can get them back. Now I can press F8 to end deployment. And he's just going to hang out here. The next thing we can do is we've got tribesman work. This is where you can assign them to a certain task. You can say, I want you to be responsible for carpenter's table, for instance. And anytime I put work to be done there, you will run over and do it if you're able to. So what you would typically do is you would look at their strengths and their weaknesses. So this guy isn't particularly great at anything. It looks like his best suit is weapon crafting. So what I could do is I could hit the plus sign here, operate bench, and then I could say which bench, and I'm going to say the weapon crafting bench, work goals, and I could even tell it what I wanted to make. Bronze spear, quantity 1. Then I can hit E, confirm. There he goes. He's getting all the ingredients that he needs to make a bronze spear, all on his own. Look at that. You could have him prefabricate tons of planks if you know you're going to need them later. Or you could just say, hey, build me this one item, build me this one item. And he did it. He built my spear already. So now I can come over to my weapon bench and there's my bronze spear right there. Boom. And that's a really good spear to have. So as you can see here, you can have your tribesmen do a lot of things for you. You can have them craft individual weapons. You can have them craft assembly line of items, materials, crafting materials for future projects. It's going to be important to analyze them, right? Over here on the left and find ones that have really high qualities of certain stats, whether they're really good at making armor or really good at making weapons. And you would want to be out there looking for a tribesman that's really good at making weapons. So if you see a tribesman with a title on its banner, you know, something that's more than just vagabond or something more than just Flint Tribe Barbarian, if it has a description like a title with it, that means that one has got some good stats and it's worth capturing them and taking them back to your base and seeing what they're good at. So what we're going to do is we're going to head down here and find a nice little place to build our abode here, our little fort. This is going to be our hub of operations. It's going to be where we spend the nights when we need to. It's going to be where we build our base. So let's clear a nice little area. Let's say I wanted to be right on the water, so I have plenty of access to water, which you're going to need in this game. You're going to need loads of fresh water, right? All your tribesmen are going to need water. The animals you're breeding are going to need water. You're going to need water. So being near water, fresh water, is going to be very, very useful. Let's get this stuff out of the way here. You can see my character's weight is filling up there and she is starting to slow down already. I don't need too much yet. Just want to build a thatch foundation, really. Okay, now my character's weight is such that she can't even run anymore. She can just walk fast. Oh, now she can just walk. So let's start building things. The first thing we're going to want to build is our foundation. And this has a really nice menu here where you press tab, you open up this menu and you can craft anything or find out where you need to go to craft it. So we're going to say foundation, which is going to tell us, okay, you can build this, but it's locked. You haven't unlocked the ability to craft it yet, but you need thick rope and thatch. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our technology tree here and learn how to make basic building, right? So here we go. This is giving me thick rope and a foundation. We're also going to want walls and stairs and things like that. Very nice to have. We're going to want a roof, right? Because what's a house without a roof? And a door will be nice to have as well. So there we go. We have all the things we're going to need. You can see we have 45 points to spend now. We're getting these very fast. Basic carpentry. We're going to want all of this. But first, let's build. So the first thing we know we're going to need quite a bit of is thick rope. So let's go ahead and build some of this. Go up a bunch here, because all of the things I'm about to make are going to need some of it. And just hit this plus sign to make more of it. Right now our character's making it, and our weaving proficiency is leveling up while we do that. It's quite dark now. Did we find a lamp? I don't think that we did. No, we do have a torch though. Okay, so foundation. Here we go. We're going to build a few of these because this is going to be the foundation of our house. We're going to make a nice tiny little house to start because this game does let you retrieve materials once you've put them down. So we'll be able to expand on whatever we start with. So the way we're going to place these down is we're going to drag them onto our hotbar somewhere. So I'll put it right there. Yeah, we'll have a nice waterfront place right here. We'll start it right here. It's a good start, but I think we're going to need some more. And we're going to go ahead and put some lighting down here for us. So we'll go ahead and place a campfire so we can see what we're doing here. And we're going to make thatch walls. A base has got to have walls. We're actually going to need more foundations too, because the bonfire that we want to make in the middle of our house here is going to be quite big.
That's what she said.
We're going to retrieve this because let's say you wanted to put down your walls, but you wanted windows in them. So what you do is you hold Z and you get to choose the style of wall that you're placing down. So we want a window wall. Yeah. Now we can see out when we're inside, which is always nice because, you know, sometimes you'll hear footsteps outside and you'll be like, who's out there? Right. Well, now we can see if that happens. We don't have to just wander. We're going to go to our technology tree some more. We want to build a bonfire. Bonfires are really important. Bonfires are going to keep your base from decaying. So you definitely want one of these around. So we're going to build one of them. And in fact, we could have skipped the campfire here and just continued using those as more of little respawn points out in the wilderness. So what we're going to do is we're going to retrieve this campfire. We're going to place our bonfire down. As you'll see, it's quite large.
That's what she said. No.
And here is our first tribesman coming over to want to team up with us. A vagabond ran across your base in such a dangerous environment. She wants to team up with you. Okay. And a lot of people, the first time they run into one of these, this person comes up to them and starts talking to them and they think it's a real person. And that's what happened to me when I was playing too. This person came up and they're like, I want to be in your group. And then they were saying things like, hey, the heart of the rainforest, Flint tribe territory, it's best they don't spot you here. And it's like, maybe we should build somewhere else. And I was like, oh, okay. And I thought it was a real person, but no. This is the tribesmen. They come, they talk to you, they offer suggestions, and they can start doing tasks for you, which we'll show you how to do here in a moment. So this is the beginning of the base. This is what the process looks like. You need to build something. You come in here, you figure out what it is you need to build, you learn how to build it, and you unlock it, right? You just come in here and you unlock the things you want. Basic tannery, you're absolutely going to need. And if you try to unlock something that has prerequisites that you have not unlocked, it'll say that we'll auto learn the prerequisites for you to be able to do this, which is really handy. So you don't have to like go back and like unlock things so that you can get to this point. You just click this one, you accept that it's going to learn any prerequisites that are required. Boom, it put 1 point in here, just the minimum, so that you could get to this and unlock the thing you wanted. Very handy, very, very handy. One thing for sure that I'm going to want is to be able to use better weapons. So as soon as I get awareness strength 12, I'm going to want to unlock these beast bone weapons. And you're always going to want to stay up to date on weapons and armor. The weapons are going to make a big difference in terms of how much damage you're putting out and how likely you are to survive with the better armor. And the tools, like I mentioned before, these are so important. You want to have the best tools that you possibly can. So anytime you see an opportunity to have better tools, like here, and grab that, right? We're going to grab these here. We want these tools as soon as we're able to make them, because we're going to get more materials and we're going to get, most importantly, better materials if we have better tools. So that's basically the beginning of the game. I would finish putting together this first version of my base. I'd finish putting the walls, I'd slap a roof on it, right? And I'd have my first home sweet home. And then I would use this as a hub to go out and explore all the question marks I could. I would head to the Rainforest Scout here, which is what we'll go do real quick so that we can show you how we unlock a part of the map. Before we do that, you can see my character can't run very fast right now. She's moving a little bit slow, and if I pick anything up, it's going to get worse. So we're going to come into our technology tree. We're going to make our first storage container, which is going to be a thatch box. The first one is called a box. The rest are going to be called a chest. So you want to get that box and make one. So thatch box right here. We're going to make that. There it is. We're going to place that in our house. Slap it right there for now. And now we can move materials in here. If you hover over an item, it tells you how much it weighs. So this has a weight of 8.04, right? It's quite heavy. When my total weight that I can have is 108. So it's, you know, almost 10% of my weight. My weight here is still looking pretty full. So I'm going to want to get rid of the stone. Yeah, that's heavy as you would expect. collect some bark. Oh, that flint was really heavy. Drop off these house crafting materials. We'll hit the sort button up here to make it look a little bit neater. And I'm feeling pretty good about my weight right now. We can definitely go out, grab some more stuff, and then come back. Not too worried about it. So we'll head on out and we're going to make our way to this right here. I'm going to put a marker on there so that I can see where it's at. Oh, there it is. We're going to unlock the next part of the map. If you wanted to, before you did this, it looks like on the way there was some ruins. So we're going to clear these out. And as of right now, you can farm the same ruins. So because of my proximity to this ruin, I'll be able to run over here and grab this chest anytime I want. I'll just have to kill those 3 animals, get these sunstones and green crystals, which is going to allow me to upgrade my mask. So come in here and we're going to grab any unlocks that we can. Looks like our awareness is only level 10, so we can't go too far down the tree yet, but we can grab some stuff, make ourselves a little bit better at cooking, logging, and all sorts of stuff like that. So there we go. We've just unlocked some stuff. You can see we're really low on energy. So if we consume some of these sunstones, and then we look at the mask again, now look at that, 75% full right here. And I can get this last bit. We have one more. There it is, just about full. Now we can do things like use this to see animals, enemies, corpses, even special nodes. Like if there was a copper node right here, it would light up. It's a good time to talk about stamina and how it works in this game while we're running here. So one of the things you do is you can dodge. That's going to consume stamina. You can press Alt to dodge. You can sprint. That consumes stamina slowly but surely. You can attack. That's going to use stamina. And you can use like special attacks. If you do a long press on your mouse, for instance, it does this. It's a little bit of a special attack, and you'll unlock more special attacks as you play the game. You can climb in this game. That also uses stamina. So if you see a base or a house and you want to be on top of it, or if you see a rock that you climb over, you can climb it. So you just got to find a ledge to latch onto, and you can lift yourself up, make your way up it. So there is climbing in this game, and there is also pretty significant fall damage. So be careful of gravity. It is real and it does hurt in this game. If you run out of stamina, you get a little insufficient stamina thing that pops up on screen, and then your character cannot really do much until that is expired. Pineapple, nuts. Thank you kindly. We got some monkeys here. You can catch those. Talk about that a little bit later. How you catch all the various wildlife that you want to keep alive. Basically, you build traps. You put bait in the traps, and then they walk in. You just pick them up after that, and they are yours. So now that I'm heading over here, we are in pretty thick jungle. The main thing you want to worry about when you're running through the jungles in this game are jaguars. They are the thing that will end your life early in the game. See, here's this little dog. He's not going to be too big of a deal when he sees me. We'll just kill him. And he's got his friend. They did hurt. Use a bandage. That's going to give us some life back. Bandages are nice. You can use them in and out of combat. So you can always use a bandage. If your health is getting low, you just want to get some distance because it does have, a nice little cast time to it. All right. Yeah, we're going to be careful. We're using our scanner to make sure there's no jaguars here. That will end us real quick. Then we'll have to run all the way back to get our loot, our corpse, and get to these guys again. So from here, what we want to do is we want to use our scanner and we want to find the scout. And we want to keep the scout alive till last because we want to steal their knowledge. All right, now we've got the scout left. Oh, but I'm almost dead. I'm going to heal and we're going to whittle this scout down here. And we want to get him to about 20% health. Oh no, there's a jaguar. Oh no. Oh, Oh, so the jaguar had its way with us. It killed me really fast. That's really unfortunate. So now I've got to run back there, and I didn't follow my own advice and put a campfire. So we've got to spawn all the way back here at our bonfire. And the worst part about that was that the jaguar killed the tribesmen whose knowledge I needed to steal. So this is a good time to talk about what happens when you die. When you die, the game leaves your corpse here. There's a little icon on the map telling you that your loot is there. Anyway, not your corpse, but your loot. All your loot is there. You got to go pick it up. You leave it all on the ground. Everything you had on you is there. Probably my least favorite mechanic in these types of games is the fact that you leave all your loot on the floor when you die. Hopefully that'll be a setting you can turn off if you're someone that's just playing by yourself on a PvE server. But like I mentioned, the jaguars, those cats in this game, man, they are very dangerous. They're not to be played around with. And unfortunately, we drew his attention while we were fighting, and he came and killed both of us. And because my character doesn't have any armor yet, and I have a lowly wooden weapon, it was a tough fight. And if they knock you down, which it did get me, and it knocked me to the ground. From that point on, I really didn't have a chance. So hopefully when we get back, the spicy kitty will no longer be there. You know what I'm going to do this time, though? This will be a good time to build one of those respawn points we were talking about. And this is exactly why you do that, just to save yourself a run. when you know you're going into a dangerous situation, which I should have done. I knew that my character's low level, and in the deep jungle here, there is a high likelihood that you run into a jaguar. Okay, we got some branches. Okay, so we're gonna build a campfire, and we're gonna slap this down somewhere here. Where is it gonna let me? There we go. Like I say, go ahead and give it some fuel just to make sure it doesn't go out on you too soon. All right, now if we die, it's a much shorter run back to this location because there's a good chance that spicy kitty is still gonna be there waiting to kill us. Okay, so here's all my loot. You got this nice little thing. It says death package, lovely. And then we can just press T for take all. And so just a note to the developers, this should probably be take all, you know, since it's T, take. And then G should be give all instead of deposit. So give and take, and then it lines up with the letters. So it would just kind of make the most sense. Okay, there was a chest they were guarding here, which had some copper ore with it, and that's nice. You know, we'll definitely want that later. Big sad is that, unfortunately, the person whose knowledge I wanted to steal was killed by Kitty. So all we can do is loot them, which is nice because we can take their weapons and their armor, which I desperately need on this character, as you can see. So there we go. We got some boots. Okay, so our friends are back. They just respawned. See, remember, we want the scout alive, and hopefully Danger Kitty stays away from us this time. Okay, we got the puppy. Oh, we don't want to kill the scout. Well, that didn't go well. Looks like we are waiting for them to respawn again. I was trying to kill them and keep the scout alive, but failed that. But, you know, they did drop a purple set of gloves, so not all is lost. All right, so we have the scout here. Press E. Now we can take the knowledge out of the scout by pressing E on him.
Submission. Submission!
Boom, there we go. Have a bunch of points opening up on the map here. This whole area is no longer covered by fog of war. Showed us the portal, showed us that. Okay, so there you go. That's how you open up more of the map. You find one of the scouts at one of these encampments. They're marked like this, so you know where to go. And then make sure you kill the other NPC, but then you take the mind of the scout, you know, by pressing E, use your mask on them, and extract their knowledge of that area, and it'll unlock the next part of the map. And you'll be able to do that as you go out into this massive, absolutely massive map. Crouching like this, so right on the bottom right here, you can see how much noise you're making, okay? How visible you are. So when I stand up and I sprint, you can see I'm making a lot of noise. The Danger Kitty, you can hear me from forever away right now, but when I crouch, I have to get much closer to that kitty before he hears me and comes to eliminate me again. So we're definitely going to take advantage of that because he's most likely somewhere right in there. We don't want to find out. I would say there's two things in the jungle that are very dangerous. Two things that if you run into them, there's a really good chance that you will die if you're forced to fight them. And one is the Danger Kitties, and then the other is the Danger Noodles, the snakes. If you see one of those Danger Noodles, be careful. See, these boars, these are not a problem. You can outsmart them. They're quite a bit more agile than they are. So yeah, if you see a snake, you see Danger Noodle or Danger Kitty, you watch out for those. You run from those bad boys until you've got pretty decent gear. You see me throw the spear because my spear, we come in here to character, mastery. My spear has the ability ultimate throw. So I can throw it at the enemy and then I can pull them back to me. Very nice ability to have. Alternatively, what I can do is I could click on this and I can press space as it says right here. Boom. And now that skill is equipped instead of this skill. So now when I press F, instead of throwing the spear, I do like 3 jabs, 3 very potent jabs. We'll keep this one out for now. We can talk about how to repair gear because you'll notice like the gear I picked up from those guys, it's almost broken, right? There's not a whole lot left of it, but if I hover over it, it says common gear crafted by TRIBESMEN. This item must be repaired manually or repaired on a repair bench. So it doesn't require a bench, which means I can press F and repair. So hover over it, press F. But it says materials needed for repair, thick rope and linen. Same for this, thick rope and linen. What about for my wooden spear that's breaking? A branch and either a log or hardwood. So chop down a tree. Now we can come in here and our spear that's taking damage. We wouldn't have to repair it this early, but just so we know how to repair because it's something you're definitely going to have to do. There we go. Now it's repaired. Alternatively, if you get something that you don't want to use, like let's say we had a green set of stone dual blades and we have them, but we don't really want to use them. But if it's green, blue, purple, or red, it might have some nice crafting mods on them. So what you can do is uncraft instead. So if we click V, press V while we were hovering over it, it's going to uncraft those items and it's going to give us some materials. And there on the screen, it says uncraft to get flint and a wooden handle. So that's nice because we need wooden handles to make the next tier weapons. So won't mind having those. So we can uncraft any weapons that we find that we don't want to actually use ourselves. On the bright side, we have some new upgrade materials. So we can come in here and let's see if we can upgrade our mask. We can make stone weapons. So let's do that. Do we need a bench for these? No, we don't need a bench for stone weapons. So let's go ahead and upgrade our weapon. Stone spear. We need 5 flint and 2 thick rope, but we already have the wooden handle from the item that we uncrafted. Flint comes from breaking rocks. Rope, we can just make that right now. Thick rope, because we have some vine. Now we just need a rock real quick. There we go. That one gave us flint times 12. It told us right there on screen. Here, I'll do another one real quick. You can see what you get. Stone, flint times 4 right there. See it? Now we can make the next tier of weapons, stone spear, because we have stone and all the fun ingredients there. So we don't have to use this shoddy wooden spear. And this is a good time to compare the damage so we can see the upgrade. Oh, we even got a nice, excellent weapon, a purple one here. And this is going to be 34 damage. This one is 21 damage. So almost 50% upgrade right there, right? It is a 50% upgrade. Very nice. Slightly more likely to defeat Danger Kitty if we run into it now. I'm still not super confident about that engagement. I'm going to try to avoid it if I can. I don't want to have to do that again. Make sure we have a campfire in case something goes wrong nice in here. Get in the habit of putting down campfires. You'll never regret putting a campfire down. You'll never say, man, I wasted time putting that campfire down. It's always the opposite. It's like, oh, I have so far to run because I forgot to put a campfire down. Slam those suckers down anytime you have a chance. So one thing that happens is if you get knocked down, you don't die, you go into the second state and you can use a bandage to regen health. And if your health gets back to full, your character will get back up. If they kill you, your character will full die. Let's see if we can get this character back up. Sometimes the NPC will let you live. They'll just walk away, be content with knocking you unconscious. Sometimes they're going to be determined to finish you off. Looks like this one is determined to finish me off. So we're just going to let that happen. But we built this campfire nearby right there. So we're going to respawn. We can choose where we spawn our bonfire earlier or one of our 2 campfires we built. Here's our body. Here's our stuff. Now we got all the stuff. See, no harm, no foul. As long as you have that fire so you can get back to your corpse, you're all good. So what you can do is when you get knocked down, as long as you don't move after getting knocked down, you basically feign death and you can use a bandage to heal yourself and get back up. As soon as you move, you're very likely to attract the attention of the enemy that knocked you down, and they'll probably try to finish you off. But if you let them think that you died and just heal yourself without moving, then you can get back to your feet by waiting until your health gets to full health and your character will stand right back up. Okay, so that can save you a lot of time if you forgot to put a fire down. Okay, so that concludes everything you need to know about the beginning of the game, getting started, making your first little base, using your mask tree, unlocking that, right? You find those green crystals and then you use those as a currency to unlock more nodes on here. And you find the sun crystals and you use those to resupply the energy on your mask. You've got your technology tree that you are unlocking as you go. I've got 51 points left to spend in here. And as I level up, I am getting more points to spend in here. And as I mentioned before, the big things you want to focus on are your tools, your weapons, and your armor. Those are going to allow you to push forward, and those will also tell you what other items you need to build in order to make them. So if you want to make a certain weapon, then you might need a certain bench, whether it's a carpentry bench or a weapon bench or an armor bench, right? They're always going to tell you what they need in order to make them. You just hover over them in here. Let's see, let's find one that has it. For instance, if we wanted to make a bronze spear, it says that in order to make this, we need a crafting bench, and it has to be a level 1 crafting bench. So your crafting benches start at level 0, and then you can put upgrade materials into them to turn them to level 1, then level 2, then level 3. And we'll talk about that in a second when we switch over to our game that is much farther along than this one. So let's go ahead and do that. Now on my other game that's much farther along, we have the ability to make fantastic weapons, fantastic gear. We've got a much nicer abode, you know. We have continued the process of building out our little lake house here. We got a nice view. Really love this place. And you can tell I'm in a PvE game, you know, not a PvP one, because I'm not really worried about other people coming and attacking me. So towards the mid game, your base is going to start to look a lot more like this. You've got loads of crafting benches. Each one of these has a very specific purpose. The most important ones for me anyway are probably going to be the building workshop. You get this, and this is where you're going to build the more advanced buildings. Sometimes you can't just build a building with your hands. You have to come come over here to the building workshop to build it. And similarly, you've got your armor forge. This is where you can come and you can craft armor. Unfortunately, this game doesn't let you craft from your chest, so I'm curious to see if they'll change that. I have played a lot of games now where sometimes you can craft from the chest. You don't have to come pull the materials out of here to craft, and some games make you come and pull them out. So Power World didn't make me do it, and that was really nice, man. And then V Rising did make me go and pull materials out of the chests, and I heard a lot of people complaining that V Rising was still making us grab materials out of the chests, and so I'll be curious to see where this game lands on that topic. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like when a open world survival game lets you craft without pulling items out of the chest? You know, the crafting will just draw the items. Or do you like added realism of having to run over to the chests, grab the items, and take them over to the bench that you want to craft that? Let me know. I'm really actually very curious to see what you guys think about that. Now, my character looks to be hungry. The last thing that happened to me on this character is I accidentally left the game running overnight, and my character starved to death and died. And I was gone from my computer for so long that the death bag with all my gear on it also disappeared. So I lost absolutely everything. I lost all my bronze gear. I lost all my weapons, which, you know, that works out because now I can show you guys how mid-game crafting works, as well as mid-game mechanics. If we zoom out on the map here, you can see that we've explored quite a bit more. I went over here. I have done everything the game's going to let me do right now. I went up here. I beat the game's first boss, which is a panther. That's a good fight. Basically, my advice for that fight is wait for it to attack, dodge, and then counterattack. It's kind of like a Dark Soulsy type of fight where you let it jump at you, you dodge so it misses, and then you get in a few hits, but don't get greedy, and then it'll jump away, and then you repeat that process until it's dead. And that's really the way to beat that. There's tons of locations around here. You've got the salt pans here where you can get salt. Anytime you see an orange icon, that's a pretty important resource for you to kind of be aware of. And there's tin ore here, tin ore here, tin ore here, right? And then up here, we've got some copper ore once you start needing copper. Really nice to know about those things and take advantage of them. But those symbols are on the map, so the game helps you out a lot. You know, you get one of your scouts. Like down here, there's a scout. You can't really see the symbol because it's buried underneath the camp symbol, which is probably something they'll address. Is as soon as you walk by the camp, it starts covering the scout symbol. But there's a scout symbol right there, and I went there and they just wouldn't spawn. So I think that must be some kind of bug in the early version of the game here that they'll have to fix. But I've done absolutely everything that the game will let me do right now. And there's much, much more over here, over here, over here, right? There's entirely different biomes, each one with its own boss. Like this one had the panther boss fight. There's a frog, there's a giant ape, there's all kinds of great stuff over there. And there's also portals. So you've got this mysterious portal here. Once you activate a portal here, you can go, you interact with it, it consumes some of your crystals, and then you go over to the other territory, the other biome, you activate the portal there, and now you'll be able to portal between the two locations, and that's going to save you a lot of time. Another thing you can do to save a lot of time, well, first let me eat because my screen's going in and out of, I think that's because my character's a bit hungry right now. There we go. And I'm thirsty, so we can come out to our nice fresh water supply here. Have some water. Boom. We're good there. What's our water doing here? How's our turkeys doing? Oh, our turkeys are out of food. We better get them some food. They're going to be upset with me if I don't get them some food. Our crop's looking good. I probably need to harvest that. As promised earlier, we'll talk about how to capture and breed turkeys. We'll talk about how to plant crops, so you know how to do all that. That's very important, and it's not intuitive. Everything in this game is pretty detailed, you know, so we'll talk about that. But before I do that, I was excited to show you this. This game has mounts. So, oh my gosh, my mount is starving to death. I better give him some food. Where's my boy? It does eat corn. Oh, and it gives me corn seeds after it eats the corn. Very nice. So that's one way to get corn seeds. There, now he's standing up again. He was sitting down because he was so hungry. Wasn't gonna do anything. Okay, so we've got a mount. This is my alpaca mount. This is one of the most basic mounts in the game. Quite slow. There are better mounts. You can get panthers and you can ride those around. Those are a lot faster. There's an ostrich that you can get, and you can use that as a glider to jump from high places without taking fall damage. So the ostrich mount is going to be a really cool one to unlock. So there's all types of different mounts, different animals, and I highly recommend catching all of them and trying them all out. It should make exploring this world a lot of fun and a lot more convenient because it is absolutely massive. The mount's going to save you loads of time. Not only that, but the mount has its own inventory. So if we hold E while we look at the mount, we can say view items, and from here we can see all the items that this mount is currently carrying. Loads and loads of weight. And it's hardly even full. It can hold so much stuff for us. Gotta love that about the mounts. And so definitely take advantage of the mount and mount capacity. In order to get a mount, what you have to do, well, for the alpacas is you just go to a place that has alpacas. So a barbarian camp, for instance, like this one right here, you'll see little alpacas in a cage, little baby ones, and you just pick that up and you can carry it back to your base and it'll grow up. And as soon as it grows up, you'll be able to ride it around. It'll like you. That's how you get the alpaca. For the panther, it's a little bit more complicated. You've got to get a trap, not the small trap, but the medium trap. So if we look in here, here's a medium trap. You have to craft that, put some bait in there. So basically the way the panther works is you have to find a female panther out in the wild, wait for it to have a baby. Then you have to put a trap down to lure the baby into the trap. You got to put some bait in the trap. And once the baby goes into the trap, you can pick it up, bring it back to your base, again, raise it. And once it's an adult, you'll be able to put a saddle on it like this one here. So here's the saddle right there. You just craft it, you slot it into the spot. And as with anything, if you're ever wondering where you make it or how you make it, like the saddle, just click this. It says panther saddle. Where would I make the panther saddle? Well, it says down at the bottom, level 1 armor forging table, which we have. If we come over here, got our armor forging table, and it's level 1 because we put the level 1 piece, the armor forging table part 1 right there. Again, if you're wondering, well, where do I get the armor forging part? You just search for it right there, armor forging table. And it says this is crafted in the building workshop, which is this one right here. This game has a ton of buildings with prerequisites, a ton of items that you can make, and it's got a fantastic system for figuring out where they're made. It's got a search bar right there. You can search for anything. And if it's not something you can make on you, like the saddle, it won't show up under your manual crafting blueprints because you can't make it without some table. So there's other crafting table blueprints and then boom, they'll show up in here. And you've got all the different saddles. You got panther, alpaca, llama, ostrich. Like I mentioned, you've got the snow leopard, which works really well in the cold territory. So some of these may not fare too well in the colder areas in the mountains where it's snowy, but the snow leopard will excel there. The llama can hold more weight than anybody else. The ostrich can glide. The alpaca is just your basic mount. This is the first one you get. It's the easiest one to get. So it's not super special in any given way. It's just a lot faster and it carries a lot more than you can on foot. And then the panther saddle is your speed demon, on foot there. So there you go. That's the different mounts that you can unlock right now and how to unlock them. So for the mid-game armor crafting, it's a lot like you would expect. We wanted to make a bunch of bronze gear. We'd look at these requirements here. I need bronze chainmail, thick leather, coarse cotton, and it looks like I need quite a few materials from all of those things, right? And chainmail here, for instance, I need 12 chainmail for the costume, which is your chest piece. They call it costume in this game for some reason. And then your shoes, you need 2. And then your gloves, you need 2. And then the pants, you need 10. So that's 24 bronze chainmail. So if I didn't want to make that myself, right? I didn't want to stand here making 24 bronze chainmail. What I could do is I could have my bronze chainmail. I can queue up something that I want crafted. And then my tribesmen that I've collected will do that for me, right? This is one of the coolest parts about this game. Very Pal World-esque if you've played that. So we would say we want chainmail, and then I press D down here, add to planned queue, D, and I want 24 of these, and I've already got 1 right here. So that means I need 23. So I'm just gonna put 23 right there. And then also, and do appoint a caretaker if I haven't already done that. So I haven't assigned any of these barbarians to this yet. So hover over them and you can see which one is especially good at this table. So it says this guy right here is level 38 armor crafting. So I'm going to use him or her, and I'm going to put my bronze ingots in there so that the materials are here. The order is here. Now we step away from the table. There they go. Hard at work. And while they're doing that, I can gather the ingredients for the bronze ring here. I'm going to need bronze ingots, which I've already got slotted here. And I'm going to need calite and silver ingots. So let's go grab some calite and silver ingots. There we go. There we go. And we head on back and I can make a bronze ring. I can interrupt their crafting session here and they're going to craft it for me because I drug to the top there. And then they take the item themselves and they go put it with the other items that are like it. So she came and tossed it in here with my armor, right? Because I've been using this one as an armor storage container. And I haven't even assigned it to that. It just knows. I have this one dedicated to weapons. That's what that symbol means. So that's kind of how the crafting system works and getting your tribesmen to do it for you. And if I was really efficient, I could have all of these guys guys on like kind of a conveyor belt system. I could have some making the thick hide here, while this one made the chainmail here, right? And then ultimately, after it was all done, I'd have it queued up so that this one made all the armor pieces as well. And they'd do it all on their own. They'd make all the pieces, they'd put them where they need to go, and then they'd craft the armor for me. And as you'll remember from earlier in the video, before you assign one of your tribesmen to craft the armor for you, be sure to check their stats and look for the tribesman that is good at crafting armor, the one with the high armor crafting stat, because then they're going to create better armor than you could. They'll create better armor than any of your other tribesmen can, right? So you definitely want to assign the tribesmen and look for the tribesmen that have the best armor crafting stat when it comes to making armor, and the best weapon crafting stat when it comes to making weapons, and so on and so forth. Make sure you utilize and maximize those stats that the tribesmen have, and make sure you're always looking for ones with better stats than what you currently have. You can have loads of tribesmen in this game, so take advantage of that. As the saying goes, you got to catch them all, right? You've got different storage containers. Now, storage in this game is really important, the way that it works, because you can assign roles to storage containers so that it only accepts items of that type. And so then you come here to like this one, for instance, and I can press G for give all, and it's going to deposit food, but only the food, right? So it knows what to put in there. And I've got some feces here, which falls under the category of the animal produce here. So boom, I press G, it gives it that to this container and nothing else. I've got my ore related stuff. So I come here to the ore symbol, press G, and it only puts that in there. So it keeps it all organized. Plus it lets all of them know, my tribesmen know where to store all of those things so that they keep it organized, and it lets them know where to get those things as well. You can do the same for weapons, crafted materials, tools, and so on, right? So it's very, very handy. The way you do this, so this one isn't assigned anything yet. So let's go ahead and take all this stuff out of here, and I would hold E over it. And that's basically what you do. You hold E over things. Look at her. She's coming and putting things away for me. You hold E over things and it opens up their menu. So you hold E over this, and you could dismantle it, relocate it, retrieve it, which is put it in your inventory. You can rename it, or you can set a password on it. So we're going to view items, and then from in here, we can say set storage items, or press L. And this is what tells it what types of materials are going to go in here. You can say medicine, semi-finished product, plants, minerals, animals, weapons, armor, right? So if I put armor here, and then you can further detail which armor, or if you want, you'd say which minerals, like, you know what? I don't want low quality stuff in here. I just want, you know, crystal, and you can uncheck everything but crystal and copper, flint, whatever you wanted stored in this one. Really handy system. So that's how storage containers work. Different tiers of storage that you unlock as you are progressing through the game. In your technology tree in here, you've got first your thatch box, right? Which is this one here. You can make it right off the bat. Then you've got chests after that. And you've got a small wooden chest, then you got a wooden chest, then a metal chest, and a mine chest. The mine chest is going to be specifically for mined ores, whereas the metal chest is just going to be a really big chest with a high degree of security, and it's hard for people to break into, which is going to be nice, especially if you're playing in a PvP server. So that is how the storage works in this game. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can see right down here, my sleep meter. It looks like my character is quite tired, filling up with the red there. That's bad. So what we would do is we'd go to our bed and we would sleep. And this is going to recover our morale, or we're going to rest. It's going to fix our brain for us so that we're not so tired. It goes up slowly but surely. Right now it's at 42, went up to 45. It goes up by about 3 per tick or so, it seems like. And you lay there, you'll get a well-rested buff. So in the top right of the screen, we have buff details. Press F10, that comes up. So currently we have 3 buffs. We've got the sweet home buff for being in our home, you know, cut off from the dangers of the wild. We've got comfort level 1 and pleasant mood level 1 from resting as well. And all of that from just laying in the bed for a few seconds. It looks like this buff is going to last me about a half hour. It's going to give me XP gain by 20%, and my max load goes up by 5. All right, next up, let's talk about turkeys and capturing and breeding animals in general. So one of the things you can do, let's go and get our feed for them. We're going to need that. Grasshoppers. Okay. So the way these work is, for turkeys specifically, what you have to do is you have to craft a small trap. And after you make the small trap, you've got to find a baby turkey. You cannot capture the big versions of animals and tame them. You have to capture the baby versions of them and tame them. So you would look for a baby turkey, you run around scanning with your scanner, and you find a baby turkey. I know that I was able to find one here, just right next to my base here. And also like over here somewhere in this area, I found another baby turkey. So the way that the turkeys work and the way that all of these work, in this case, the turkeys have a turkey coop that you need to set up. So you got to craft the turkey coop first, put it down. That's what this big coop is that all the turkeys are chilling in. Then after you craft your turkey coop, you craft one of these small traps and you'll have to go out and you'll find a baby turkey, which oftentimes will appear near the adult turkeys. So if you find adult turkeys, just check back on those adult turkeys often enough, and eventually there'll be a baby turkey there. That's when you'll get your trap and you'll set it down a little ways away. You'll hide, and then you have to load the trap. After you put it down, you need to put an insect in it. Like a locust works really well, and they're really easy to get. You get these just by collecting shrubbery, just grabbing these shrubs. Every once in a while, you get a locust. Use your scythe for a better chance at all those materials. The higher quality scythe, the better. And you'll get a locust. And then you put that locust inside of the trap, and then you back away. And that baby turkey, as long as you didn't scare it away already, you need to stay out of line of sight. It'll slowly walk in there. And then when it's done, you can run up, grab the baby turkey out of the trap. Then you run over to your turkey coop. You set the baby turkey inside of the coop, closes the door. And now you've got your first turkey. You've got to keep doing that. They'll slowly grow up in here, and eventually you'll have a male and a female. And then at that point, you won't have to catch them anymore. They will breed, reproduce infinitely, as long as you keep them fed and hydrated. So the way you keep them fed is you come up to this here. It says the trough. You can view items, and we can just drag a couple of grasshoppers in there. Boom. They ate it right away because they were starving. Now they're going to be doing that. Anytime they're hungry, they'll just grab a grasshopper out of here. Automatically, you just keep that loaded and they're good to go. And then you've got your water trough. This one's a little more tricky. So in order to keep the water trough filled, it takes a little bit of a process. First of all, you're going to need a water tank. So we look at how to build a water tank. We need clay, leather rope, and a ceramic mold. We also need the ability to craft a water tank. So we'd come in here and go water tank. Okay, click on that. In order to make a water tank, we need the potting table. Okay, we unlock that. And then we also need knowledge to craft the tank specifically. Done. Then we're going to come here and get the clay. What else did we need for the tank? Water tank. We needed clay, leather rope, and ceramic mold. Okay, so here's ceramic mold and leather rope. Thin rope, thick rope, leather rope. There we go. Okay, then we come to our potting table and we create a water tank. Now we have a water tank, and you might be wondering, okay, so how do we fill it with water? Great question. Glad you asked. So we put the water tank in our inventory. Don't forget to take it out of the bench and put it in your own inventory after you craft it. Very easy to run away from the bench and realize you forgot to bring it with you. And better yet, flip it. So it's red. The line under is red, which means it's empty. So all you have to do is go to water, go to fresh water supply, which is why this house here on the water has been so convenient. We press E, boom, water collected. Now it's full. So then we pull this item out, press 2, now this item's out, and you have to find a spot where you can use it, and it's going to fill it up. Okay, so right now it's 4, 5, 8, 6. See how I'm doing it and nothing's happening when I'm doing this over the water trough? I think this is just kind of like a early game situation where you've got to be in just the right spot for it to trigger. And for me, it's been right here. And you see that water animation going? That means it's working. When you see water actually coming out of the bucket, you're standing in the right spot. And now we look at the water trough, like 4999. It is absolutely full of water. So that's going to last them a really long time right here. And like anything in this game, you could set this up so that one of your tribesmen is managing this for you. You could tell them to tend to it, and then they'll make sure that it's stocked with food and water. And if there's too many turkeys in here, they'll go ahead and slaughter them and then give you the extra meat for food and whatever you want to do. They'll collect the eggs right here. So if we go here, there's feces that we can collect right here. I just got 100 feces. I got 100 feathers, and I got 10 eggs. And so you can use the eggs, of course, for food, whatever you want. You can use the feces to make fertilizer. So you've got ash fertilizer here, which requires feces and fire ash. And then you've got food. And this is going to bring us into how to tend to crops. So you need certain combination of materials here to make fertilizer. And depending on what you're trying to grow, you're going to need a different type of fertilizer. So compost here is a real easy one to make. You just gather fiber, thatch, and vine, which is basically grabbing this kind of stuff. You just grab this kind of stuff with your scythe. Then you come back here. You drop it in, fiber, thatch, vine. You drop that in. You combine that with some tree bark, and you go ahead and you make some compost. Then some crops require compost, like this cotton crop right here. This cotton crop that I made requires compost. So if I look at the crop right now, I'll try to position this so it's easy to read. You see it says durability, builder, designated type cotton seeds. That's what I planted in here. Then you've got hydration, and then you've got all the fertilizer types. So the hydration is taken care of automatically if you plant this outside. It gives it sunlight automatically, and then the area gets enough rain automatically so that your plants are hydrated. So you don't have to worry about watering your plants. That kind of happens on its own, but you do have to give it the compost that you made. So you would come here with your compost, you would equip it like you do with the water, and you would spray the compost on here. When you had the compost loaded up for the type of thing you wanted to plant, you'd be good to go. You could plant them. So let's go ahead and grab all of this here. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our cotton. And as we collect it, we are getting all the good stuff that we like to get from collecting those kind of things. We got the cotton itself, which we use to craft armor. We've got cotton seeds so that we can plant more cotton. Alternatively, what if we wanted something else? So if we come here and we look at corn seeds, look at what it says there. It says seed of corn can be planted in farmland. It requires bone fertilizer. So it tells you what type of fertilizer it needs to grow. And whereas if we look at the aloe seed, it says that it requires compost. So we could come here. So we've already got loads of compost and we could plant this. We'll slot it to number 3 and then we'll change the crop type. So hold E, set crop types, and we'll say we want to add aloe instead. So now it's not growing cotton anymore. It's going to grow the aloe seed that we're planting. So we'll plant that right there. You can only plant these so close to each other. So you want to try to be as efficient as possible. You want to plant this first row along the edge here, and then you go down, and then, you do it like this. If you plant them too sporadically, you're not going to be able to fit that many on here. But if you're very specific about their location, so it's a nice, neat line along the edge, you should be able to fit as many rows as possible coming down here. This is done. You just plant it. It says it'll mature in 45 minutes. Its phase is seedling right now. Temperature's 23. It's good to go, man. It's going to do really well. And we just have to come back in 45 minutes to be fully ready for us to harvest. One of the easiest way to get seeds, besides, actually like finding cotton and grabbing cotton, that'll give you some seeds. Alternatively, if you're looking for seeds for something else, if you go to these ruins, they'll oftentimes have seeds in the chests. So you collect the chests and the ruins will have seeds in them, and that's how you get some seeds, okay? And that is how tending the farmland works in this game. And by the way, it's farmland. That's what you were looking for, farmland. This is what you need first. And I had to put this on a flat surface because when I tried to put it on the ground, only half of the crop was usable. So what I would recommend doing is putting a foundation down and then putting your crop on top of that, most likely. And that way you can use the entire farmland that you built and half of it's not submerged under the uneven terrain, which is what was happening to me. So I could only use maybe a third of it because of the slope of the hill. If you have that problem, this is what you want. You want just a quick thatch foundation or some kind of foundation to put underneath it. If you're on a PvP server, just remember that people can break the foundations, destroy your hard work. So you may want to put a higher quality foundation if you're on a PvP server. And if you find that insects are ravaging your crops, one of the things you can do is you can set one of your turkeys free to maintain your crops. They'll eat the insects in there for you. A nice little trick, by the way. All right, guys, and that sums up everything that you guys need to know to get started in SoulMask. It is an incredibly in-depth game, and everything that I've showed you here is just a tip of the iceberg. There's so many more instances and versions of this. Not only do you have a turkey coop, but you also have a capybara pen where you can catch other animals and put them in pens and then save them for meat later. I mean, there is so many things you can do. This is just 1 or 2 types of crops out of many types of crops that you can build. And there's loads more crafting benches, loads more weapon and armor types that you'll be able to access in the game at launch. Presently, it is in early access, so we were only able to go through the first zone here, but the other zones are going to unlock with the full game, giving you access to more biomes, more bosses, more gear, and more of everything. It's just going to be a massive, massive game. So that's all very exciting. If you have any questions or if there's something that you can't figure out, don't sweat it. I know I was having the same problem when I was playing this game my first time. So feel free to leave a question in the comments below and I'll do my very best to answer every single one of those. Massive shout out to SoulMask for sponsoring this video and giving me the opportunity to play this game and share it with you guys. And thank you so much to the developers for giving me the freedom to speak about the game as I chose while I was doing this video. They were very candid about that in their email. They said, you know, we want you to be honest about the game and to tell us about it. And I thought that was really cool. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. I think this game has massive potential. You can tell that there's a really cool foundation here with lots of layers and lots of depth. And I'm really excited to see not only what this game is like at launch, but what it's like a year or two down the road and when they've had more time to add polish to the systems and the mechanics of the game. Massive shout out to my YouTube channel members. Thank you guys so much for becoming a member of the channel and supporting me in the big way you do. That monthly donation helps a lot. If you want to become a channel member to have your name appear at the end of these videos, to get access to a private Discord channel where you can ask me anything and I will always answer, hit the join button below or click the link down in the description of the video. And be sure to check out SoulMask. Click the link down in the description below to try it out for yourself. The demo is available at the moment with the game's full release coming on June 18th. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you're not sure what to do next, maybe check out one of these other videos popping up right now.